Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. One of the biggest crimes in history was just committed. Once I saw this when I woke up this morning, I nearly fell off my chair. And I wish I could express how mad I am, how shocked I am, and how bad this really is. This literally will be the most important video I have done to date. So you must watch this. I'm begging you. I'm literally begging you. This is not just me saying like the video and comment and watch it because it helps me. I'm serious. You have to watch this. This is absolutely unprecedented and the most craziest thing I've seen in economic history. Okay, this is a bit technical, but I'm going to make it seem simple because guess what? The central banks, the government, they try to make this seem very complicated when at the end of the day, it is very, very simple and they don't want you to know this. What just happened this morning is an absolute tragedy and a crime against the people. The Federal Reserve has officially discontinued their series of recording the increase in the money supply. More specifically, the increase in the money supply for the M1 money supply and the M2 money supply. And if you're like, well, what's M1 money, what's M2 money? Don't worry, I'm gonna make this very, very simple for you and explain exactly what it is. But you have to know why this is so important and why hyperinflation is gonna come while your money is about to become worth less and less. That money that you worked your butt off all year to earn, well now it's just gonna be halved in value. And this is exactly why they stopped recording the M1 money supply. Have a look at this. In April, the M1 money supply has gone from 4.5 trillion vertical increased by about 450% to $18.1 trillion. They just increased the money supply by almost 500%. And they're saying no inflation is coming, but that's a complete lie. The central banks are lying to our face. There's a financial crisis happening behind the scenes that they don't want you to know about. They're devaluing your money into the ground. It's actually theft. It's actually robbed. They're counterfeiting your money and making your money worthless. And you know why? Because in 2008, when they turned the money printers on, they started something that they couldn't stop. Now that the money printer tap is turned on full blast, there's no key to turn it off. And guess what I think why they stopped recording this? Because they're going to have to reset the money printer to start printing in the quadrillions and hyperinflation is going to come, but they don't want you to know about it. But quickly, for those who don't know, I'm going to tell you what the M1 and M2 money supply is. So to put it simple, the M1 money supply is all the hard cash, the cash notes, the coins, the checking accounts, and other checkable deposits. So the M1 money supply pretty much is just real hard cash and cash that can be easily liquidated, pretty much money that you can take out of the ATM and money you can spend straight away. And that increase in money supply, you know, all the notes, the coins, your checking deposits, that increased by 450% in 1 year. And have a listen to this. Up until March 2006, the Federal Reserve published reports on 3 aggregates, the M1, M2, and M3. But guess what happened since 2006, the last financial crisis? The Federal Reserve no longer publishes M3 data. And guess what? Trillions of dollars went missing in the last financial crisis and they still haven't been held account to where it went. It says here the M1 money supply is composed of the Federal Reserve notes, otherwise known as bills or paper money and coins that are in circulation outside of the Federal Reserve banks and vaults of depository institutions. So that pretty much just explains what I said. It's just really all the hard money and checking accounts. And wherever you're watching around the world, in Australia, Canada, the UK, you have to listen to this because the exact same thing is happening around the world and the Federal Reserve is ahead of the snake, and when they move, other central banks follow. And throughout economic history, the increase in money supply was actually how they used to calculate GDP, inflation, and price levels. Milton Friedman argued in support of theory that money supply is intertwined with all of these variables. So what central banks are trying to say now is, they're trying to say is we can print trillions and trillions of dollars, we can increase our money supply by 500%, and it's not going to have an effect on inflation, it's not going to debase your currency, and we're not going to have to lift interest rates. That's a complete lie, and that goes against everything in economics history 101. But they have to come out there in the public and say that everything's great, because if they say anything, they even make a whisper that something bad is going to happen, the stock market would start selling off immediately, people would do a run on the banks, and the financial system will come collapsing down. So what they're going to do is they're going to pull the rug from underneath you. They're going to try to cover your eyes. They don't want you to know what's really happening. and they're going to keep you uninformed, just like what they did in 2008. The exact same thing is happening again. And also, like I said, they're discontinuing the M2 money supply. And have a look at this. In February, the M2 money supply had gone from 15 trillion almost up to 20 trillion. That's an increase of around 30%. But again, they're saying, nah, no inflation, we're just going to print all this money, no inflation. And for those that aren't aware what M2 money supply is, because again, M1 is just all the physical hard cash, the checking deposits, just very liquid money that you can take out and spend very easily. M2 is all M1 money, so all hard money, but it also includes term deposits, aka savings accounts, money market securities, mutual funds, and other assets, pretty much any assets that you could liquidate pretty much immediately. And have a look at this. And this is according to Investopedia of exactly what M2 predicts. It says here, M2 is closely watched as an indicator of money supply and future inflation. It says it right here in black and white. It's an indicator of future inflation. And guess what they're doing? They're hiding it. And as a target of central bank monetary policy. I wish the general population knew how dangerous central banks were. And this is why the public didn't want to create a central bank in 1913 when the Federal Reserve was created. So they tried to say it was created as a public institution, but the Federal Reserve is not public, it's not federal, it's a private bank. And they're looting the general population while they come up and buy up all the assets in existence. The Federal Reserve now owns a third of the mortgage-backed securities market. They're buying all the government treasuries. They're buying all the junk corporate debt. They bailed out the stock market. They pretty much, as closely as they could, brought stocks during the last financial crisis. And you may think this is great, but what this has created is the rich, the billionaires, the top 1% have never been richer in history than today. The wealth gap has never been bigger in history than today. And the middle class is now destroyed. Like I've been harping on about, this is how they measure inflation. But now they're lying to your face and saying this doesn't cause inflation when the literal definition of M2 money supply increasing says it increases inflation. Inflation and interest rates have major ramifications for the general economy. And that's what's happening now. As these heavily influence employment, consumer spending, business investment, currency strength, the dollar is being devalued into the ground. So if I was you and I held dollars, I'd be getting out of dollars right now. Not financial advice, just what I would do. In the United States, the Federal Reserve publishes money supply data every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Well, guess what? Not anymore. This only covers M1 and M2 data. They no longer record M3 data since 2006. And guess what could happen? They could just stop recording everything and start lying to our face, and you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Guess what, everyone? The reset is happening. Wake up. People think it was just some crazy talk. It's happening right in front of our eyes. And for those of my viewers in Australia wanting to know how much our M1 money supply increased, it's increasing rapidly as well. From March, it's gone from about 1.1 trillion to now 1.428 trillion. So it's, again, that's also increasing almost at 30%, and it's going to have lots of pressure on inflation in Australia as well. And this is happening in Canada, in the UK as well, but they're trying to cover it up. Everyone, this is what I've been warning you. We haven't recovered from the recession last year. They shut down the economy for a whole year. Businesses were closed for a whole year. Unemployment went to the highest rate since the Great Depression. People aren't paying their mortgages. People aren't paying their rent. Do you think we can just get out of that scot-free and not have any consequences? And do you think we can print all this money without any consequences? The answer is absolutely not. And guys, I'm not telling you this to be a doomsdayer. I genuinely want to inform you about what is happening. The corruption is right in front of your face, and they're about to do something massive. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. There's going to be a new reset, I think, coming in the financial system. It's all going to go to a new digital dollar. You're all going to download a dollar with the Fed, because this fiat currency, and again, what you have to know throughout history, not 50%, not 75%, 100% of the times, fiat currencies fail because governments get greedy, banks get greedy, they debase the currency until people lose faith. And what have you heard over YouTube throughout the past year? Money printer go bird, they're printing money in crazy. Even TikTok makeup artists are talking about the Federal Reserve and their money printing. So everyone's waking up to what they're doing. Everyone knows that crash is trash. And it's ultimately when people lose faith in the currency, when hyperinflation comes, And this shows you how scared they are, because they're now no longer going to report this weekly data. They're going to change it to monthly, so you're uninformed of what exactly they're doing on a weekly basis. Please share this with your family, share this with your friends. The general public has to know what they're doing, and they have to contact their local government to not let this happen, because if we let this happen, the central banks will print our money into extinction. For all my loyal viewers and subscribers still watching, thank you. I just want to say thank you for all your support. I think people are slowly waking up. This is not just me. This is a bigger community we're building now, and together we can bring about change, but I can't do it alone. I need your help. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.